Good evening, everybody. I see a lot of people entering the room, but let's go ahead and get started. This is Coach Gregory's mom, Toniraye, and this evening we're going to be covering 5 money conversations that you need to have within your family, with your team, whether it's at your career job or whether it's building your entrepreneur business, whatever it is. You know, money styles begin to emerge in all human beings starting at around age 5. And somewhere between the age of 5 to 12, this age group is morphing, but now is the time to help your own children really look at their own styles, their beliefs about spending and about money, and how it's going to impact our behavior. So as entrepreneurs, it impacts our behavior just as well as it does with our children and with our families and with people on our power team. When we're negotiating with buyers or sellers, with a contractor, whoever we're negotiating with, they have a money style. When we can speak to their style and what motivates them regarding money and their conversations around money beliefs, if we recognize that, it helps us create solutions where everybody wins. Everybody that attends the Tampa 3-day training, which is June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, if you want to attend the Tampa training, go to gregorydowning.com/Tampa and you can register. But if you're coming to the 3-day training, you're going to receive your personal leadership style. It's a 23-page report, and it helps us in negotiating. We spend quite a bit of time in the 3-day event on our different styles and how those styles cause us to interact with each other in certain ways. However, as I was thinking about the upcoming 3-day event, I realized that we really want to support all of our students in understanding how we are each unique and how we are also alike as we set goals for the future. So there's 5 money groups for us to look at tonight, and you will notice 1 or 2 groups that spot you dead on. And you will always have a main money conversation and a secondary money conversation going. It's such a habit for you, it's in the background, you don't even notice that it's happening. So we tend to think that money issues have something to do with budgets and crunching the numbers and getting this right and setting the budget and all of that, but really it isn't about crunching the numbers. Building wealth is about relationships, commitment, and strong communications. It's about why we do or don't take money actions that's below the surface of the budget that causes us to either be successful or to not be successful or to be semi-successful. So we think that every money problem, every money fight, and this is important because as husbands and wives, partners, business partners, or intimate partners, guess what? Conversations around money are the biggest drivers of success and failure. It tends to enter into every other facet of your relationships. So every money problem, every money fight, every money conversation has 2 layers. The first layer involves the financial details, your budget, your savings account, your debt, retirement, college funds, phone bills, parking tickets, so on and on. Those are your finances. And yes, that is important stuff. But the second layer is a more fundamental layer that we want to uncover and look at. We think of it as your money relationship, the how and why underneath the financial details. It's those deep-seated assumptions and beliefs you bring to the decisions you make that involve money. And every decision you make as a family, within your power team, with your coaches and consultants, those of you that are in the coaching and the consulting program, you think, okay, well, I've paid my money, I'm getting my consulting now, so that's it, I'm just going to take action. But one of the things, if you'll notice, your money conversations that you have internally inside your head, still affect how your coaching goes, whether you're coachable, whether you're not coachable, whether you're all those kinds of things. So all those money decisions mean is that you are thinking about and dealing with money at least once a day, if not more. There's not a person on the webinar today that doesn't have at least one money conversation a day. Even those of you that you think you're financially stable, you've got good credit, etc., I still have money conversations at least once a day. And not just the details, but the emotions and expectations behind the money conversations that we have. You know, you decide to buy a pair of shoes, that's not going to break your budget. You decide you're going to print some flyers, that doesn't make you or break you. It isn't about each of those little things. None of these decisions, whether you go to the doctor today, whether you take off for a half a day. Actually, if you take off from work a half a day, or you take off work for 3 days to come to the Tampa event in June, that's not going to make you and break you. None of these decisions will absolutely break your budget, but all of them have implications with your relationships in the world, with your success, with the next decision that you make. You know, some people, there's a thing in it's in psychology, there's something, and we use cows as an illustration. We often looked way across the field and we say, wow, I really want that green grass over there. I want that money over there. But sometimes we're so worried about how will we ever get clear across the field to where that green grass is that we never take the step that's needed for right now, for today. And one of the things that happens with a herd of cows, they don't look across and say, okay, how am I going to get there? They eat the piece of grass that's right in front of them that causes them to take one step. And then they reach out and eat the next piece of grass that's in front of them, and that causes them to take a next step. The next thing you know, they're clear across the field, eating the grass that they wanted this morning, and when they get across the field, then they look out and say, oh, I want that piece of grass over there, but they just are taking one step at a time. So tonight, let's look at the 5 different money styles. Now, these are in addition to whatever your leadership styles are. You're going to have 2 of these styles. And it isn't necessarily that the saver and the security seeker go hand in hand. The saver might be a risk taker, but is still a saver. But you've got 2 categories here that are going to really fit you as we go through the evening and look at this. So let's start with the saver. Savers love to save and they get excited over a good deal. But if you're one of our savers, you feel compelled to also help others learn to save and get good deals. You often use your saving techniques to feel superior to others. Now, none of what we're talking about tonight is good or bad. If you're a saver, you can build this business. If you are a risk taker, you can build this business. But I believe it is helpful to understand the good, the bad, and the ugly, not right or wrong, but just the facts of each of these different styles. Because if I know, because I have been a good saver, that I often act a little bit condescending to Betty Joe, who may be a spender, that's going to interrupt my relationship and it won't help me accomplish. Savers aren't necessarily saving because they want security. Sometimes it is about wanting security, but savers actually just like money. The actual money itself they like to have. I remember the very first deal I ever did. I cashed the check and took the profit and spread it all over my bed, and I slept with it for 2 or 3 nights before I put the money in the bank to start doing the next deal. And that is an indication of a saver. We just like money. And when we see money, we sometimes don't even think, I'm saving this money so I can have a secure retirement. Some savers do, but not all. You'd have to be a saver and a security seeker if you were going, okay, I'm saving this money because I want something 20 years from now or 5 years from now. Savers just like to save because we like to hoard money. That's just all there is to it. When unconscious superiority is present, it will interrupt and damage otherwise good relationships. Savers also often love to collect other things. So you might be a coin collector, you might collect antique furniture, you might collect art, but savers like to collect things. The saver might say, I have a headache if they have to spend a lot of money on one thing. So a saver, and I noticed this about myself, I'll go online and I do just fine as long as I can buy some today. Like I like to buy the dining room table, and then I want to buy the chairs on another day instead of saving time as well and buying the dining room chairs and table and the carpet that needs to go under the dining room table all at one time. Rhonda can tell you that's definitely a trait of mine because she's been furniture shopping with me before. Okay. When you were a child, if you're a saver, you tended to hoard your Halloween candy. Your Halloween candy might have lasted you clear until next Halloween. You might think the saver is all about the future. However, this isn't exactly true because savers are sometimes so focused on saving money right now that they aren't even thinking about the future or what they will use that money or how they will spend it or invest it in order to prepare for a future worth living. So if you are a saver, one of your problems is, write this down. If you're one of my savers on the webinar tonight, write this down. One of your problems is you know how to save, but you do not trust yourself to spend. So part of the savers coaching needs to be, if you are a saver, your consultants, your coaches need to help you understand what is the return on investment, what's the risk versus reward, how do I enjoy life right now without it being risky. Savers get stuck saving money out of habit. Now, it could be that when you start saving, or in some areas, you absolutely are saving for a particular reason, but it becomes such a habit that rather than thinking about money as a means to an end, if I use this money, no, I won't have a stack of cash anymore, but I'll have a stack of apartment buildings that will produce cash. You tend to not think that way. Savers often know how to save, but don't have sound spending skills. So it's almost like you'll save, and then you go berserk when you do start spending money. Savers need ways to securely and safely build their businesses. Savers need to focus on both short-term and long-term. If you are a saver, you tend to really like to do portfolio type income because you want to buy the house and you don't want to sell the house. You want to keep it long-term. So for you, that is great as long as you understand I'm going to do short-term deals and I'm going to do quick turns and get quick cash so that I can invest in long-term properties. Savers often forget how to live right now, to save and enjoy life now. An area for you to learn about if you're one of our savers is how you can purchase, this would be interested for you, how can I purchase discounted real estate in a self-directed retirement account? This is a powerful wealth building strategy because profits can go in a tax-free or tax-deferred environment. You'll still be feeling like you're building cash because you will be, but you'll be investing in having that money grow at the same time. Let's talk about spenders. Spenders are all about the enjoyment that comes in the moment of the buy. It doesn't matter if you're spending on yourself or someone else. Spenders just love to buy stuff. Houses, drapes, refrigerators. Let's put in a new backsplash. Now, I am a saver and I am also a spender. That sounds like it won't work, but for me it does work. As a spender, as soon as I finish a project, I get bored and I want to go do the next project. Actually, I'm more of a flyer than a spender, but this is kind of the trait of a spender as well. Spenders like to buy. It doesn't have to be, spenders get enjoyment out of buying a Mercedes, but we like to buy a pack of gum as well, if you're a spender. The spender believes buying is buying and all buying is fun. Spenders like instant gratification and will have a hard time putting off buying tomorrow if they can find a way to get to the store or purchase it online today. The spender will buy and then plan how to make money from what they bought. So, as real estate investors, we want to be careful. A spender, their first thing with their coaches, when are we going to buy the first property? So this might be one of Rhonda's traits as a part of your team. We're going to laugh at ourselves this evening. So Rhonda's like, we just have to buy something. We can't take forever to buy. But as she started to learn the business, even though she loves to buy, guess what? She also has found that it's exciting to figure out how will I make money off of this deal once I buy the property. Spenders love to share and help others. So spenders don't just spend on themselves. They're really generous with other people. If you go to a dinner with a spender, they want to pay the check every time. They just get joy out of spending and giving. Okay? If you're a spender, when you were a child at Halloween, you like to trade and barter your candy. So with your siblings, you'd say, I'll give you these 2 Snickers if you give me 3 of something else. You were always bartering and trading. Here's one thing to be careful of. As a spender, you like to buy something. You might give it away. You might keep it for a little bit. And oftentimes, spenders are one of the really dangerous things for spenders to watch is you're really quiet about spending and you have a lot of guilt around spending. So sometimes you don't communicate and talk with your partner. You just go do something and then after it's done, you're backed in a corner and then you have to talk to your partner about it. You're prone to shame. It makes it hard to help you create a plan for the future and work toward healthy ways to grow your business and improve your credit and money situations. As your consultants and as your coaches, we can't help you if you can't talk about what's the truth. And I want to encourage you, spenders are some of the wealthiest people in the world. Just because you like to spend doesn't mean you don't have good credit or that you won't be able to do this business. You will be able to. It's just as a spender, you have to be careful not to put the cart before the horse. All of a sudden, my clicker's not working here. Spenders need to learn that the real joy is setting your goals, both long-term and short-term, and then having a power team of experts to keep you safe. Spenders, you have to be coachable. One of the things about our spenders is sometimes they're very analytical. so you don't recognize them as a spender. And we'll be coaching somebody, and they'll be quick to buy the property, and then Greg Jr. and Rhonda or I will be saying, okay, do you have it fixed up yet? When will you have it ready to sell? And 2 months later or 3 months later, you're still kind of dilly-dallying around. You want to buy the next property, but you don't necessarily like to follow through on the property you've already bought. So I am absolutely not scolding you tonight, because there's some wonderful things about every one of these different categories. I just want you to recognize yourself. Spenders, since you are generous, you will find joy in getting a deal by solving problems for others. You must always learn how to set your fix-up budget, how to calculate your return on investment, and then stick to the budget. So your coaches are going to be on you if you're a spender. No, what did we set the budget for? What did we say? You can't pay a dime more for this house. Spenders will go to an auction and pay way too much for a piece of property. So we don't let our spenders start with tax deed auctions. You want to start with a quick turn and with a small deal that doesn't take too much fix up, so you can get through the deal and then go on to the next deal and duplicate that process. Spenders are seeking security must be part of your plan. We can help you because we'll show you that creating and following through with your business plan doesn't exclude you from being spontaneous with your actions and with your relationships. So spenders, you must be spontaneous. You don't even want to plan where you're going to go for dinner tomorrow night. You just want to go based on your gut feelings and your reactions tomorrow night. But if you start to practice, and if you tell yourself every time the plan works out, if you say, wow, I still got to be spontaneous, it still was an exciting adventure. Spenders just like adventure. That's just all there is to it. You will be interested in all three types of income: passive, residual, earned, and portfolio. But put yourself in check to be sure you do all three types of income. It isn't just about being interested, but it's about practice. So spenders, you need to practice. Savers, you need to break your habits of doing the same thing the same way all the time. Spenders, you need to break the habit of being too spontaneous. Your spenders, your problem isn't going to be lack of action. Your problem will be staying power to the finish line. You guys are spenders or sprinters instead of marathon runners. So you want to move more to an intermediate and then a long-term plan. Portfolio income won't be quite as exciting for you because you watch a portfolio. You buy a house, you rent it out, you collect small amounts of cash flow, $200 to $300 a month over the years while the property appreciates, but you don't get the adrenaline rush of seeing the racehorse cross the finish line tomorrow. So your spenders, you're going to like quick turns better than you like long-term deals, but you want all three types of income. Let's talk about our risk takers for a few minutes. Risk takers are entrepreneurs and visionaries at heart. You will put every dime you've got into the lemonade stand that you are passionate about, whether you have the knowledge to make a profit or not. Now, risk takers, it isn't that you invest in crazy things, but you invest because of your passion. Spenders invest because of the adventure of negotiations. Spenders like to negotiate. Risk takers like the adventure of going to new places and trying new things. Risk takers, you like change. You're neither the spender nor the saver necessarily likes change, but risk takers do accept change. When risk takers spend, it isn't about instant gratification, but you risk takers, you're careless with the details and you gloss over sound business plans. As a risk taker, you get frustrated when your plan doesn't fall into place easily. If you are a risk taker, be careful because you might be insensitive to the needs of others because you have single-minded focus on your important goals. So risk takers have the biggest goals, actually, and risk takers often have the biggest dreams. But you are so tunnel visioned that you will steamroll other people on your power team. So if you're married, if you are a risk taker, your husband or your wife, you are so focused on the goal that you'll just steamroll over them and make them wrong to make sure that you get your way to invest in what you want to invest in, versus, let's say a risk taker is married to a saver. As a risk taker, it isn't that the saver doesn't want to invest, but they are just a little bit scared and they need things down on paper. Whereas risk takers, you see things in schematics inside your mind. So you visually see things different. You don't need things as concrete as the saver needs. I hope this is making sense to you all, what we're talking about here, okay? So if you're a risk taker, be careful not to just steamroll over everybody else. Don't be a bully. Don't take matters into your own hands. So as a risk taker, your number one job is to create agreement. So don't hear me say that if you've got a saver as a spouse, that you shouldn't do this business. I am not saying that. I am saying that if you want to have a happy, spontaneous, adventurous relationship, you need how to learn to work with your partner to create agreement as you take the risk and as you move forward. And if you're married to a saver, the risk taker and the saver bring such balance to each other. Nope, somebody's asking, are we going to have a quiz? No, we're not going to have a quiz. Okay, if you are a risk taker, when you got your Halloween candy, you like to look at every kind you had and you like to line it up to see how many chocolate candies you had, how many of this kind of candies you had, and how many of this kind of candy you had, and how you could put those all together in a different way, one piece from each stack, and make a new kind of candy out of it. That's a risk taker. You're visionaries at heart and you make decisions based on your feelings. Savers, you make decisions based on circumstances, so you get stuck. Risk takers, since you make your decisions based on feelings oftentimes instead of fact, you'll get stuck in the mud. But the saver will never get started in the first place. So the risk taker has a better chance actually than the saver if the saver won't take action. As a risk taker, you want to learn the value of financial literacy and the knowledge that it should accompany your gut decisions. It's okay to act on your feelings if you have knowledge and financial literacy to back it up. And risk takers, you need to have a very strong power team, a strong coach. You have to use the tools of a pro as you make decisions. My risk takers oftentimes don't like to use the software. They're like, okay, well, I know this part of town. I like that house. It looks nice. It's got curb appeal, but you don't go and check the comps. You don't follow through and check the details enough. So you've got to go overboard in making decisions and checking details. Risk takers, you're not as good learning theory from a book, or reading isn't necessarily how you learn the best. You may not have been actually the best student in school, but you are one of the best students of life. You like to learn by doing in the field. Quick turns will be your favorite deals, but you need to focus on long-term deals as soon as you handle fast cash. You'll love the fast cash rush and want to do those deals over and over, but you need to learn how to acquire the best income producing properties that can produce cash flow every month. So risk takers, actually, it's easier to deal with you in a coaching situation because to get started, we want you to do an easy, quick turn deal. But risk takers, we don't want you to stay stuck to still just be doing assignments or quick turns 6 months or a year from now. We want you to be willing to learn the next kind of deal and the next kind of deal. All right, let's talk about our security seekers. My security seekers are always looking ahead and planning for the future, but you don't enjoy the precious journey. And this is different than the saver. The saver might save for a particular goal, but the security seeker is constantly saving. You think you're going to take it with you to the grave, you security seekers. So my savers really like money. They like the feel of it. They like the smell of it. They like to have it because they know at any time they do want something that they'll have money then to get it. But my security seekers, it's not as much about having money as it is about planning. You're my analytical people. You really love to plan. You want and security seekers, you want proof and you want guarantees. And let me tell you something, the only guarantee that we have in this life is that someday we're going to die and none of us are going to get out alive. So it's fine that you're seeking security. It's great that you want to have a good credit score. All of that is awesome. But you need to set deadlines and look at security as also the adventure of life and see security in other things besides just having money in the bank or a 401k plan, etc. If you are a security seeker as a child on Halloween, about a week before Halloween, you started thinking about not the cutest costume, but if I have this costume, am I likely to get more candy? What's the best route to take to get the best candy? Which neighbors on our block give good candy? Which neighbors on our block give money if you knock on the door? You plan your route ahead of time, you stick to the plan, and you will not deviate from the plan. So security seekers, you've got to loosen up a little bit and go by your gut feelings a little bit more. Surround yourself with people that use their feelings to make decisions. You use the plan to make decisions, and the two of you work together to have a really balanced investment business. Security seekers want to know what to expect for dinner. They want to be assured about the routine. They don't like change even if they're miserable with the way things are. Security seekers, you'll stay in a miserable relationship before you'll try something new because your motto is, I'd rather I know the devil I've got versus what'll happen in the future. Risk takers, you're my most indecisive of all the different categories. The saver isn't as indecisive as the risk taker. Now, when you have a saver, as the security seeker, when you have a saver and a security seeker money style combined, you can really get stuck. So that's when you really have to have some help breaking out and trying new things. You want to know what is expected of you. You want to read every word of the contract. You want to know what's expected of the other party. Risk takers can be indecisive, but security seekers get overwhelmed when the smorgasbord of life is offered. You'd rather have two sound choices than go to you do not like smorgasbord buffets. You want things to be the perfect color. You like to draw inside the lines. You want to control circumstances, and you want to control future potentially damaging situations. However, in negotiations with others and in all of your relationships, if you are a security seeker, it might look like you are trying to control and manipulate others. Your drive for security, and it isn't even that you're trying to cheat the other person, but as a security seeker, sometimes others get the feeling she doesn't care about me. She only cares that she gets everything she wants in the deal. So sometimes you don't have enough give and take. You need to meet and network with other real estate investors and professionals who are currently buying and selling real estate or are currently in your field. You need to create relationships with others. It's your biggest challenge and it's your biggest opportunity for success. You probably want proof, but what you need to learn is to trust yourself. You seek and put knowledge into practice, and then you can trust your knowledge level. You're a good learner. Security seekers, you learn in the field, you learn by books, you are smart, you learn. But you oftentimes learn and then get tunnel visioned on having things your way. So you've got to learn to give and take with others a little bit more. Don't give your, and here's a big thing for my security seekers. Do not, I should have put this first. This is rule number 1. Do not give your money to some other professional to invest for you. That is dangerous. In today's economy, you need to know how to do it. You need to know about what the roofing is. If you're a security seeker, not if you're a risk taker, you can give the details to somebody else to get the job done. But for my security seekers, I'm not saying you have to do the manual labor, but you need to know how and why, and then supervise your power team to do the work. A lot of what has happened is that security seekers have just said, okay, put my money in a mutual fund, and then you didn't know enough about the marketplace when the recession hit. You didn't know where your money was invested. You didn't know what the next trends were because you're not necessarily a trendy person. So instead of looking at what's going to happen 2 years from now or 3 years from now, you think that you're planning, but you're doing the same things that your grandpa did, and what your grandpa did may not work in 2017. Whatever you learn, you want to continue doing. Instead, you need to be willing to change with the times. I already said this. What Grandpa did yesterday may not work now. Be willing to stay abreast of current trends and what are the economic conditions in marketplace right now. What do I need to do in this market? Not what worked yesterday, but what is working right now. All right, let's talk about our flyers. Of all the different categories, the flyers are the most unusual. Of all the 5 different money styles, you are often spontaneous and your instincts inform your decisions. But as a flyer, the difference between a risk taker and a flyer, the risk taker goes completely based on their gut and their feelings. However, as a flyer, you're spontaneous, but your instinct informs your decision, but you back it up with knowledge. You do like to fly by the seat of your pants. Here's the thing, here's the problem with my risk takers. Money is not important to you. Money barely rises to the forefront of your mind, and you don't think that you need to consider the money part. Money for you flyers is a means to an end. I know I'm talking fast tonight and I'm packing a lot in. I advise everybody to get the recording this week and make sure that you go over your style a little bit more. And I want to encourage everybody to be at the Tampa training June the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. For my flyers, money is a means to reaching a goal. Flyers like to go with the flow and they love an instant party. Flyers hate to feel controlled. Sometimes you flyers aren't coachable just because you don't want anybody telling you what to do. Flyers are the most rebellious against authority. You don't like restrictions. You don't want authority figures. You won't wear a helmet. You don't like to fasten your seatbelt. And just because you're a free thinker, you're actually disinterested in money, and sometimes you're unresponsible, but for a very different reason than the spender. Flyers are liked by their peers. You're the sociable person. Everybody else likes you. Excuse me. Everybody wants you on their team. But the spender is irresponsible because they just love to buy, regardless of whether they're going to make money or not. Flyers are not responsible because you're so uninterested in the details of anything. You just love adventure. You just love to set a goal and reach the goal. You love to use money to reach the goal, but money isn't the actual goal. My flyers don't get into this business because they want to improve their credit. If their credit improves, you're happy, but the real reason you get in this business is to help other people. The real reason my flyers, you are the biggest of all the different styles, you're the biggest people persons. You absolutely love people. And what gets people in trouble is sometimes people just lump everybody, the flyer and the spender, in the same category, and that's not true. Both are willing to spend money, but for very different reasons. The flyer wants to spend money to reach whatever their goal is that they've set. Once a flyer decides on an important goal, they'll do anything to reach that goal. Whereas the spender loves the adventure of the spending. And the spender gets bored faster than some of the other different styles. So they spend, then they get bored, and they want to spend again. The spenders are the perfect quick turn people, okay? They're the most receptive to doing quick turns. The flyer can seem flaky because relationships come before money with flyers every time. So if I have mothers and fathers on this webinar tonight and you think your kids are flaky and irresponsible, you may think it's just that they don't know how to save money or they don't know how to seek security. And if you've got a teenager, they'll definitely go through this stage at some point, the flyer stage and the spender stage, especially with the marketing that we have in America nowadays. However, I want you as parents to recognize the difference between true spenders and between flyers. Flyers want to spend money to create relationships and to help other people, and they are just so sociable. As a flyer, you will probably never care that much about the actual money. Here's a trait of a flyer. You'll do a quick turn, and 2 weeks later, you'll find the profit check that you got at the title company the day you closed, and it'll be in your glove compartment or above your visor. You forget to put checks in the bank. That's the sign of a flyer right there. For you, it's all about how the money can create the people relationships that you most look for. When negotiating with somebody who has the flyer style, be careful because it often appears the flyer is about the money. You almost think they'll be about the money because the flyer really, really wants to get the deal done. So you think it's about the money. So you think if I offer this flyer, if I offer this seller more money, he's going to do the deal with me. No, the flyer wants recognition. The flyer wants you to tell him or her, wow, you did a good job on the remodel. Wow, this is what you must really care about your house because you take care of it so well. The flyers like to have really clean houses. They like to be recognized. So the number one trait the flyer is looking for is recognition. The number one thing that the security seeker is looking for is for somebody to tell them that they're smart and that they're wise, that they make wise decisions. The number one thing that the spender is looking for is for somebody to see their adventurous nature and tell them that they're a lot of fun to be around. The saver wants somebody to recognize their collections and to be interested in what they're collecting. They want to talk to you about why they're saving their money and why the money. So savers are more about the circumstances of why they're saving, versus the security secret isn't the circumstance. It's about, I'm wise because I'm saving. I'm hoping you guys are hearing the difference between these different styles. If you're a flyer, it's all about relationship, love, and praise. You like to praise others. You compliment other people. People might even think you're not sincere, but you are. You care about people. You notice what to praise other people for. You will enjoy doing deals that involve all three types of income because you like change and you like diversity. You want fast, instant gratification. You need to see results right away or you'll give up. That is one of the traits of the flyer. You need to be willing to allow others to help you. You don't just do it on your own. Your power team will be one of the most important factors of your success if you are the flyer or the risk taker. Your power team and your coaches are important to you for different reasons, depending on which style. Your power team is important to you if you're a security seeker or a saver, because you won't take action unless we push you out of the nest. However, for the risk taker and the flyer, you need the wisdom of your consultants and your coaches. You look at real estate and life. If you're a flyer, you actually look at real estate and life as a game. And you like to have 10 projects happening at once. Now, the risk taker likes to do a big project and then do another big project right away. But the flyer likes to have a whole lot of balls in the air at the same time. Flyers are the biggest multitaskers. You will like new trends. You will like and love social networking as part of your business, those kinds of things. Okay, as we've gone through this evening, I've been talking so fast I haven't even been paying attention to see if there's any questions. And I think you've all stayed up with me pretty good. So I want to cover one other thing, and when I go to the next slide, it pertains to all 5 money styles, and you're going to need to trust me a little bit. You all know that I am a spiritual girl. I do not care what your spirituality looks like. I'm going to be talking about mine for just 2 slides because I want us to look at what I know how to teach. But if you are of a different faith, I know that your faith will have something like this in it. So a lot of times we'll say, as we've gone over these 5 styles, oh, that's not who I am. I can't change. I can't be like, I'm never going to be the saver. And then the risk taker saying, I'll never be the saver. And the saver saying, I'm never going to be the flyer. I can't do that. So I want to talk for a few minutes about the word long suffering. I used to think that long suffering, for any of you that know the Bible, is all about Job, and that he really suffered and he was in agony and his circumstances were terrible, etc., etc. And nowadays it might be a heart attack or cancer, or long suffering is you're miserable because of the circumstances and you have bad credit, etc. No, long suffering has nothing to do with actual suffering. The word long suffering comes from the Greek word, I can't even pronounce the Greek word, but that Greek base word means patience and endurance. And it comes from makartheuma, Greek word. Marco means larger, long, and thumos means temper. So when you put that together, without marathuma, the Greek word, we will not have endurance, which is also long suffering, and human beings will then tend to be temperamental. But here's what I want to tell you. If you say that's just who I am, that is not true. We all must reinvent ourselves. We all must be born again. I know that we've thought of it in religious circles as getting saved, and I'm not saying that it isn't about that, but things that are in our spiritual upbringing and in our spiritual beliefs also have practical applications for how we run our life outside of when we go to church on Sunday. So this whole long suffering thing is one of the fruits of the spirits. And I'm talking about this one because I'm talking about endurance, and I'm talking about a willingness to reinvent yourself, to rebirth yourself, to change. If you are the risk taker, sometimes you need to practice being the saver. If you are a saver or a security seeker, sometimes you need to be willing to be a high flyer, and you need to step out and take a little bit of risk. You are not stuck in the way you were yesterday. Every day that you get up, you can make a decision. Today I am different. Today I am a brand new person. Today I can live in love. I can live in joy. I can live in peace. It isn't about what your circumstances are. The fruit of peace is not about, okay, I'm peaceful today because I've solved all my problems. Goodness gracious. As long as you are alive, you are going to have circumstances. But are you willing to endure? Are you willing to run the race every day, knowing that there is a goal that you have out there? You're moving toward that goal, and don't be the fruits of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, which is the long-suffering part. And against such things there is no law. Okay, so there's not a reason in the world why you can't build your entire business just off of this one Bible verse. And if you're of a different spiritual faith, I don't care what faith you are, I am sure there is something within your faith that would relate to these different traits. And I'm asking you to look at your money styles, to look at the way you have been, and then say, what part of this saver will work to help me build my business, and why do I want to build my business? If you are the spender, what part of being a spender will actually help me in this business? Because if you are a spender, at least you're going to be willing to do a deal, where some of you have been thinking about doing a deal for a year and haven't bought a house yet. So I want you to look at each of your styles. Here's your assignment. I want you to look at each style that you might have, and you've got at least 2 of the 5 that you operate out of most of the time. And I want you to look at that style and say, what are the 2 best things of this style that will help me build my success? What 2 things that aren't helping me? What style would help me? And how do I become that other style when I'm in the middle of a deal? Who do I need to go to for support, such that I endure in the change? So long-suffering or self-control is about, I am willing to change. Now, how am I going to not just change for a minute, but over the long haul, how am I going to change? Okay? How do I use what I need to be a brand new me so that I can have my life be a life worth living? I appreciate all of you on the call this evening. This is the last call that we're going to have before the June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th training in Tampa. I suggest all of you not come by yourselves, but every one of you find somebody that you care about and bring them to the training with you. And if you're going to bring somebody to the training, you can all bring a guest. If you're going to bring somebody and I don't care what it takes, get yourself to the training. I believe this might be the very last training that we do like this for the next 6 or 7 months. So you better get to this one if you want to get to one. and bring a guest so that you have other people in your life, even if they're not interested in the business, at least they'll understand what you're up to. If you guys have any questions, be sure to go to the schedule once. You'll get an email in the next 30 minutes or so. Go there and talk to Gregory about what you want to accomplish, how you want to accomplish it, what style is holding you back, what style is helping you. Just be real open in talking with us. Get some advice from us about getting to the Tampa training. I love you all. Have a blessed, blessed week. And thank you for being with me this evening. Good night.